Welcome, everyone, to the CDO series of one-on-one interviews with CDOs, data leaders, and key influencers. I'm your host, Robert Lutton, Vice President of Int'l Consultants, and I'm coming to you today from Toronto, Canada, working with the CDO magazine, MIT CDO IQ Symposium, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers. Today, I'd like to introduce Michelle Hoyseth, CDO and Vice President of Paraexel International. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you, Robert. Wonderful to be with you today.
Pleasure's all ours. What we've done before and what we'd like to do is start with a couple of background questions to get our audience a little bit more familiar with you. Perhaps you can start off by telling us a little bit more about Paraexel International.
Yeah, so Paraexel is probably about 38 years old now. We are one of the first clinical research organizations in the life science industry. A clinical research organization is really a service provider to life sciences companies that help them develop their therapies for patients, whether that be medicines, medical devices. So we work in a regulated environment under the FDA, EMA, global regulations, and we really are focused on establishing safety and efficacy of new medicines for patients.
Quite a busy time, I imagine, for you. I understand from your bio that you've been with Paraexel for quite a while. Can you just give us a quick update? How did you get started in data management, data analytics?
Well, I didn't. I actually got started in preclinical research and clinical studies working directly with patients, and really thought I was going to vet school and got turned on to this whole science of developing medicines, and I loved it. And so I worked in ophthalmology on ophthalmic drugs and devices for about 10 years, and then came to Paraexel to gain exposure to other body systems, where I had an opportunity to just lead large, complicated studies and really think about design and how they get operationalized and how we are delivering these data sets that we use to make these safety and efficacy determinations. And it's really through understanding that our current model is really not sustainable today from a cost or time perspective, and thinking about the way that we actually under-leverage healthcare data, and we under-leverage other sources of data, which could help us make different determinations around the development of therapies, that I came into this role and started to think about not so much data management practice as it existed before us, but really think about what we needed to do differently to retool the way that we leverage data in the development of medicines.
There's certainly a trend within a lot of CDOs. One of the things I understand is that a hot topic within your particular industry and something that you want to drive discussion around is workforce readiness. And I'm wondering for our audience, if you can give a brief definition of, in your opinion, what workforce readiness means to you and to your organization, and why it's such a focus for you.
Right. So workforce readiness is really about our ability as an industry to leverage emerging access to data and emerging technology. And I would say that our process, the way that we design and execute studies, is very compartmentalized today. We have a lot of different types of expertise. We need that expertise, don't get me wrong. But there are, I think, a lot of handoffs in the process from one role to the next. And as we gain access to data, as we gain access to the enabling technologies that make data more consumable across a wider range of players in this space, we really need to think differently, not only about the roles, the way we've structured departments and teams and so on, but also whether the people that are in our workforce are ready to think a little bit like a data scientist. Not everybody has to be a data scientist in this process, but people need more data awareness, data knowledge, and they're going to need more analytics capabilities as their roles evolve. We in the life science industry already face a shortfall of essential resource types against the growth in our market. You couple that with skills gap, and you've got potentially a very big workforce readiness problem that we have to tackle.
And certainly getting more data into the hands of the right people to make decisions faster, better is something that I think a lot of CDOs face. If I were to ask, in your opinion, what do you think the key questions need to be addressed around workforce readiness?
I feel that the conversation right now is appropriately, but perhaps disproportionately weighted toward the validity of data, how we're touching data, who's touching data. And as a consequence of where we are in trying to leverage more real world data in our process, there are a lot of specialized talent types that are really working with the data, that are standing it up and readying it for more traditional talent types to do their thing with it, so to speak. That really needs to blend in order to be scalable and efficient with time and cost, right? It can't be about adding more roles to the process, more steps to the process. It has to be about really preparing the data in a way that allows us to strip out steps in the process and allows us to blend roles.
So if we were to look around the